What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Your host of the unfiltered, unscripted, 100% authentic, the Air Raid Attack podcast. And if you're like Mike, you just was on and you were in Sooner clothes. Now you're in Bronco clothes. Yes, indeed. Gotta share their love, of course. The Denver Broncos on the verge of clinching a playoff spot tomorrow night. So we will hopefully get that taken care of. But in the meantime, hey, let's have some fun. With me on today's episode with a good buddy of mine. He is the um, offensive coordinator and quarterback coach of Lugoff-Elgin. I hope I pronounced that right. If not, I apologize, coach. And a two-time state champion. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Coach Adam Rice to the Air Attack podcast. Coach, welcome aboard and glad to have you on this afternoon.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me.
Hey, my honor. And, I know Christmas is just around the corner and, just a week away now. And any fun plans on your end as we get closer to Christmas?
Just enjoying some time off.
Hey, I completely trust on that one. I completely get that one.
Yeah, just enjoying time off and just taking it day by day and seeing, what there is to get into.
Yes, sir. And first and foremost, I love how you're repping the beard over there, Coach. But as we start off the show, tell the listeners a little about yourself and how you got into coaching.
So I'm a 27-year-old football coach, still on the young side. Um, I'm originally from North Carolina. This is my first year down in Columbia, South Carolina. I got my start basically right after playing college football. Um, there was a lot of guys that I was around whenever I was a player in high school that really impacted my life in more ways than one, on and off the field. And I just always thought that was something cool. Um, and I always thought it'd be fun to do. Besides just doing X's and O's, which I love to death, film junkie and all that, but I've just really been able to work with the youth and stuff. So I was able to get that pretty much right out of playing college ball, and so I've been doing it ever since. And I only played 1 year of college ball just because of my circumstances, but this is my ninth year coaching, so I've been doing it since I was a young buck, and it's just been fun and it's been so rewarding both on and off the field for me.
No, first off, that's awesome. And yeah, I mean, 9 years, of course, you're looking at literally right out of the gate at 18. But I know every job has its pros and cons, but I know this is different, a different field, and of course, feel. What are some of the rewards that you as a coach and even as a coaching staff gets that, or even have that we may not think on the outside looking in from a fan standpoint?
Just really building a relationship with them kids. Like some kids, especially ones that I grew up with and stuff, and even coach to this day. Some kids don't have the best home life. Some of them may have a mother but not a father. Some of them may have a father, not a mother. Some of them may have both, and they still just need that extra love and extra attention. And just being able to spend time with them, and then also seeing the impact that those kids that are your players have on your family as well. Um, just getting to have everybody incorporated has really been a pro for me. Just always having my kids around the programs. And like my wife's always at every game. Just those are the pros for me, making it a real family atmosphere, because not everybody has that at home or outside of it. But if we're able to do that through the game of football, it's amazing, and it helps save lives in a sense.
Very nice. No, I like that, and because we don't from a fan standpoint. Even when I was playing many years ago, Um, we don't obviously get the behind the scenes, as you will, from some that will, from others or whatever the case might be, and um and so I respect that. And what I know we're going to talk some college ball here in a second. What led you into coaching? Want to be in the field of coaching?
Just the impact that my high school coaches had on me. I mean, they were always there for me, just and really good men in my life and leaders in my life, and they were always there outside of football too. So that just kind of showed that through this game that I really got to meet so many people and so many down to earth people. And so that was just something that I wanted to do, in a way for me to give back, in a sense, to the game, is being able to impact lives day by day and little by little, especially with growing teenagers and even the younger kids. Just trying to be a positive influence on them, especially in today's world, whenever stuff is crazy every day. Every day is something
Yes,
different.
sir. Yes, sir. And of course, speaking of the craziness and college ranks, on excuse me. Speaking of the transfer portal, as we kick off into the college football realm of things, the transfer portal, its chaos and the pros and the cons, and um, obviously some, I'm not asking for a full answer, but is the transfer portal good or bad for the sport when it comes to the college ranks? I'm still on the fence. I know a lot of people get irritated with it, but we have to also look at the bright on the other side of the kid's standpoint. What's your thoughts on this craziness? What's changed the game of college football in its sense?
Well, I like it to a certain degree, because I did used to hate the old way of you having to
Mm-hmm.
transfer. So if you was a D1 guy, you had to transfer down in order to play right away. And if you transferred to another D1, you had to basically
Sit
sit
out
out
a year.
for a year. And everybody's situation is different. So if somebody had to transfer to come home for family issues, or family illness, or
Yep.
needed to be closer to home, or whatever the case may be, I just always thought that it wasn't really fair on a because most of the time they're the younger guys. If they're 18, 19 years old, or even 20, like them guys having to make that decision, but also have to sit out for a year, that could be detrimental to them, because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of kids, football drives them. It helps keep them in line. It helps keep them disciplined. Um, and so whenever you take that away for a year, that could be really detrimental to youth. Um, I do think that there has to be some limitations on it somewhere, because it is kind of crazy with, I mean, all the people with having 7 years and all these red shirts, and then transferring from 3 or 4 different schools, because um, I just don't really believe in that stuff from building a program. But it's pros and cons to it for sure. But I wish that they would do something to put some limitations on why you can transfer, how you can transfer, um, and stuff like that. Because today, really, honestly, it's all about the money, and
Mm-hmm.
it's if it keeps going, it's going to ruin college athletics for sure. But then, because it's already trickled down to the high school game, transfer portal has it's already killed recruiting pretty much. I mean, you still got some guys that are going here and there, but it's not as big as what it used to be. Um, and so you just don't want to see it hurt your game in all levels of it.
Well, and that was leading to a question down the road was, I know, obviously here in Oklahoma it's different from South Carolina, it's different from South Carolina to Florida, and obviously so on and so forth. How has in a sense, the changes that we've seen in college football, how have that affected the high school ranks coming from a coaching standpoint?
I mean, it's pretty much been the same thing. You've got kids at the high school level that have played at 3 different schools, and they're only in school for 4 years.
Right.
So it's just that in a sense. And then, like I said, everybody's got a situation that happens. Maybe you had to move because family issues, or your parents got a job somewhere else or whatever. Totally get it, but yeah, there's got to be, like I said, a little bit limitations to it on the college level, and I think at the high school level it'll fix itself, because I mean, obviously at the high school level, there's ways to get around all the
Yeah.
whatever rules you put in. There's ways to get around it, ways to break them. But it's just, I think with them looking up to those guys and seeing it, like, if they're unhappy, they're gone, and that's just
Mm-hmm.
it's really not good whenever you're teaching young men and you're trying to instill discipline and grit and adversity and all that into them, and they're just like, adversity is, I'm gone. And I think that's where it's starting to hurt the high school ranks a
Right.
little bit. Like I said, you got guys transferring every year they play. They play to 3 or 4 different programs or something like that. I think if you transfer for a better opportunity, if you go from a small school to a big school, um, as far as you getting recruited, I mean, that's totally understandable. Um, but if you're just bouncing around, I just don't really agree
I know from the last show, I've excuse me, I answered or asked the same question, and is what is and obviously there's probably not a wrong answer, obviously, what's the best way in your eyes? I know my eye, from how I see it, maybe you limit the amount of transfers a student athlete gets, or maybe, I don't feel like punishing them like the old rule used to be, but at the same time, maybe I think I read somebody's, commented on some other social media post, give them one free one, and then the rest kind of, come at a cost or something like to that degree.
with it.
What's the best way, or is there a best way to kind of calm the waves of the transfer portal, or is it more so just this is practically a free agency, and this is just going to change the way that we see college football, and here in the next, let's even 10 years for example.
Yeah, I agree with you on the letting everybody get one free transfer, um, and then I also think then it just comes down to situations. I think, like I said, everybody's situation is different,
Hmm.
and with these student athletes, you do got to take that in consideration because if a coach all of a sudden gets fired in the middle of the season, well, if that kid's forced to stay there, more times than not, he's going to get set up for failure.
Yep.
That's just the business because whenever a new head coach comes in, he's bringing his staff in. He's wanting to bring his guys in, and I think that kind of shakes it up a little bit. But if something like that happens, I think they should be able to at least get a pass or at least be able to put it before something to agree, disagree. Staff got fired. I'm trying to
Yep.
open my recruitment back up, find something else. Um, Something like that in them situations is fine. But whenever you got people that's like at a school and they want to transfer so they can get $2.5 million, well, you got GAs that are working 16, 17, 18 hours that are
Yep.
making maybe 20, 30, 40 grand, if depending on what institution you're at. Um, so I think that sense of it is just a little crazy to me because I also believe too that student athletes should be taken care of. There should be no
Yep.
one like back whenever we was in college. We was living on ramen noodles and
Oh yes.
like the struggle. And whenever if you're at a school like a big SEC or ACC school and the revenue's there, the money's there, I think everybody should be taken care of. But I think whenever you got players making more than your coaches that are really helping guide them and teach them everything
Hmm.
and keep pushing them and sacrifice the time of their family and sacrificing themselves too, because them long hours catch up to you.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I think it just gets a little weird for me in a sense, just because I know a lot of them guys. I know how many hours they put in, and whenever they get a player in that's making 3 times what they make or 4 times what they make, it's just kind of like a slap in the face to me in a sense, just because all the hard work that they put in, and the student athletes do it too, so they should get compensated. But there's got to be levels to it too. They got to always have something to look forward to and strive to, and that would be the next level in that sense, or completing your degree and being a CEO or whatever your path takes you. I think that you shouldn't have it made while you're still trying to figure out life in that young age.
No, absolutely, and especially at that age, because like, and you keep bringing up, which um, you have to see it from their side is, you don't obviously don't want somebody, to be set up to fail. You want them to obviously succeed, and and maybe it's not at, I'm just going to sit there and say maybe it's not at Oklahoma, maybe it's not at Boston College, maybe it's not at, it don't have to be those schools. It could be a Buffalo, it could be a Troy, it could be a, University of Wisconsin Whitewater. It could be whatever the case might be. Obviously want them to succeed as a student athlete, but more importantly, to succeed as just a person in general because of X, Y, and Z. And like you said, life happens, and so maybe whatever the case might be, something came up. Well, if I can go to Indiana and be closer to home, well, at that point I'm going to go to Indiana compared to you know
Right.
him playing, transferring from Oklahoma. I'm just going to put that, um, but no, I think it's could there be best ways to go about? I'm sure there could be just as much as there could be a best ways to go about a lot of things, but I do believe that the game of college football and even just the game in general has changed. Um, I know Nick Saban's starting to be more vocal about about the transfer portal and I don't know if that's because he's got to get the Alabama name back out there, but and real quick, I know we broke it last show. We'll kind of keep it out there. If you're just joining in, OU's recent hire of Ben Arbuckle, the Washington State offensive coordinator, there are rumors that potentially he could be headed back to become Washington State's head coach. If there's anything that changes throughout at least this next hour, definitely break it for the time being. But at least keep an eye on that one. If, of course, for all of us Sooner fans, that would be a Oklahoma way of ending the season. But Jesus. But anyway, but no, I think I think that no, I think that the game has changed. I think it's more to come. Of course, changes is the CFP, the College Football Playoff. Your thoughts on it? One, I mean, needless to say, SMU or Alabama, did the committee get it right? And if and are we going to see it expand in the near future, or are we pretty solidified in your opinion? I like the 12, but I just don't know how much more you can expand and how that would look like. But in your eyes, Coach, did the committee get it right? And could we see expansion down at least within the next 10 years? I put it that way.
I like. I do like it now. I just think it makes it more fun. I mean, you add a couple teams in there, it could throw in an upset. But you also, I mean, like SMU played good ball all year, and they didn't play good in the first half against Clemson, but I mean,
Yep.
they made a heck of a comeback, and they lost by a field goal to a team that is also pretty good too. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Clemson, they got their ups and downs, but they're still always there, contenders. I think if you expand it, you're just going to keep running into the same problem, just lower down. As far you're just going to run into the same problem with more teams being right there. Um, if you just keep on expanding it to, I guess the next step would be 16 teams. Um, the more I mean, because it was the same problem. It was the same problem at four. It was the same argument
Yep.
when there was four teams, and then they need to expand it. They need to expand it, and there was several coaches. I believe Nick Saban was probably one of
Mm-hmm.
them. Like, okay, if you expand it, you're still going to run into the same problem, and that's just kind of showed its ugly head again. That that it's just going to keep being a thing, and then I mean, like it's impossible for them to make a 64 team playoff just with logistics and stuff like that. But you know, the late great Mike Leach did say that too. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's just I don't know. I just like it at 12, and I think it makes it fun and interesting, and because you got teams like Boise State and them in there that could upset somebody, or they could get bounced right away just because strength of schedule and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think it gives everybody more of a level playing field in a sense. But yeah, if you expand it, you're going to keep running into the same problem.
Yeah. I don't know. Even like you said, even if you expand it, I don't know how that layout would work. And then again, then you're right back to square one. Is well, this team got left out, and this team, and then you're just, like you said, the 64, like the NCAA men's basketball has it. And that's just outrageous. So you won't go that far in, but No, I think the 12 is fun. I like it. I know, brings up a few matchups that either hasn't happened in near 100 years or matchups that has never happened, being Clemson and Texas. But previewing the college football playoffs this first round, I don't know if you knew this or not. I sure did not until somebody posted on X, and I don't know where they came from. The last time Notre Dame played a Friday night game was back in 1900, and they played they played the Chicago Physicians and Surgeons,
I
and they
seen that
won.
leading
Yeah,
5 or something.
and it was 5-0. Um, so needless to say, Surgeons and the Physicians, neither of them showed up to play. At least could score, but I'm sure the game back then was a little bit different. Who knows? But anyway, your thoughts on this one? I know Indiana phenomenal season, regardless of how this outcome is. But do we? Is there any upset in South Bend, or could Notre Dame run with this one?
I I think Notre Dame will run with it. I think Notre Dame will be all right. Notre Dame they dropped one early, which I think that's what they needed.
Mm-hmm.
With NIU, I know that everybody's like who, but but I think that they needed that. And so yeah, I think they'll be able to pull it off just because. I mean, the one team Indiana did play, they did get beat by them. All the other teams, I guess they were pretty much same level playing field, I guess you could say. So um, I think Notre Dame gets it though.
looking at SMU Penn State. I know it's supposedly it might snow in Happy Valley. SMU, of course, was favored or not favored. They were predicted to finish fifth in the ACC. But the Cinderella Mustangs in their season in Happy Valley against Penn State.
Well, it took SMU a while to warm up against Clemson because going into that game they had the fewest drops in the whole league, and then I think they had like 6 drops the whole year going into that 4 or 6 going into that game, and then they had 6 of them in the first half. Um, so SMU going up there, and if it snows, yeah, Penn State's going to get that.
This
Plus,
one,
Plus, that's a crazy environment. Like
yes, it is.
even if it's snowing, it's gonna be rocking up there. And SMU's got a really good offense, but like I said, you're taking them back up there to the cold, and it's gonna snow, and yeah, it'll probably be a shootout. But I think Penn State will be able to pull it out.
Clemson, Texas. I know from an OU fan, I hate this one, but
Texas, and it's at
uh,
Texas. Yeah, it's just um, Clemson's not as good up front as Texas is, I believe.
and then the one that I think everybody's talking to, at least on X. I mean, that's the only game I keep on getting scrolled through is Tennessee and Ohio State. Of course, the AD's telling Ohio State fans, if you're going to sell your tickets in the marketplace, then don't make sure it's not Tennessee fans. I don't know how you can control that, but whatever. Um, does Ohio State bounce back from an ugly Michigan loss, or do they just fizzle off into the sunset with the Ryan Day hot seat?
I think they could. The only thing that worries me about Ohio State is them being young at certain positions, and I think that showed like even even against Michigan, and then again Michigan's got Ryan Day's number for whatever reason. I don't know. I don't know how it is because Stallions ain't there no more. A lot of them guys ain't there no more. You could tell, but they always got them. So that one's a toss up for me, honestly.
Seeing Tennessee in person, whatever week it was, I know it's the SEC opener. That's all I know. I couldn't tell you the day. I want to say it was the 21st of September, but I could be wrong. Um, they definitely bring their fans. I know
Yeah.
Nico's a pretty, he can deliver with the quarterback position. I'm just That one's just up for grabs. I could see a Tennessee team that can come in and whip on them. It could be the same team that can get trounced on themselves. This Ohio State team, I don't know. I don't know where to.
That's what I'm saying because
I don't.
and it's the same way with Tennessee
Well,
because
absolutely. No, absolutely, it is correct.
there's games where they look like they're dominant, and then there's games where you're just like, what's going on?
um, in the college football playoff, I'm kind of looking real quick to see how they have the layout of the bracket. Is there any team that could make a run, such as as you would say, like a dark horse? Well, I'm about to get spammed apparently by AT&T. Now I end up on Walmart's website. That's wonderful. Anyway, bracket wise, I lost it now, but any can Boise State make a legit run, or could we just see where the top tiers, the Georgias, the Oregons, Arizona State's kind of up there, I guess.
Well, what scares what's scary about Boise State and Arizona State is they can run the ball,
Mm-hmm.
and they can run the ball pretty good. I mean, Arizona State was a Pac-12 team last year, and then they did what they did this year. Um, I think teams that can run the ball really good in them situations are going to have the advantage in a sense whenever it gets down to crunch time, being able to clock manage, especially whenever you know that you're outmatched.
Yep.
And like I would like Clemson too against Texas if they ran the ball really good, just because you're outmatched. But if you can keep that game manageable and be able to sneak away with it, then that makes you a dangerous team. And I think Boise State and Arizona State both possess that. I don't think Georgia's going to do very well.
Mm-hmm.
They've been all over the place. So
Yep.
yeah, and I mean, if SMU could get past Penn State, I do like them just because of how explosive they are. They're just really, really explosive. But then it comes down to boom, next round they got to play Boise State, and are they going to be able to stop the run and the best running back in college football?
It's gonna definitely. Here's the deal. I really wish the game with Boise State in the second round would have been actually on the blue field. I think that would have been
Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely dope.
it'd be like
However,
the Fiesta Bowl.
exactly. Even though they've had luck in the Fiesta Bowl by experience. So um I'm curious, even whoever comes out of that Penn State SMU game, how Boise State attacks them. I think it's exciting. I think it's really up for grabs. There's not really a solid number one team, even though Oregon,
That's the only team I'm like,
man.
I don't really see if Oregon will have to play the worst game they played all year.
Yep.
Um, I don't know. Oregon just, I don't know. They do something. They do something different. I think just with watching them play, especially on defense, they're really really good.
No, they absolutely are, and it's gonna be interesting. I think Oregon is solidified at one. I think they can make a legit run, but it's really everybody up for grabs. I mean, you don't know Texas who's going to come out. Texas sometimes has an issue running the ball. Clemson can't defend it, or vice versa, and SMU, Penn State could go either way. Of course, Arizona State. I don't know. The Big 12 was so bad. I just don't know how good they even really are.
Yeah.
Um,
And then Notre Dame too. I think with them playing like if they beat Indiana, which I assume that they do, whenever they play Georgia, I think that's a really good matchup. They're both pretty good on defense, and I think Notre Dame's offense is a little bit better than Georgia's offense, just as of recent. Um,
Got some love for your coach.
Oh, there goes my wife. There she
Got
goes.
some love for your coach.
Yeah,
Love it.
so I'll probably got to do something in a minute. That's why she said that.
Hey, that means have you had dinner
Chores,
yet?
baby, chores,
Sure.
chores.
I feel you. Trust on that one. I feel you. Whenever there's a good compliment, it's there's something attached to it. No, that's you love seeing that. No, it's really up for grabs this playoff. I'm not. I like Oregon, but something parts of me is like they're gonna drop somewhere.
You
I
just
just
don't
don't know
know. You
where.
just don't know. It's a lot more different than a 4 team because there's more games being played, and a team can get hot in 1 or 2 games, and like a team could sneak by the first 2 games and get in the championship and play against the number 1 team and blow them out. If they
Mhm.
get hot right here, you just I don't know. I'm not putting my money on anything. Let's just say that.
I'm just gonna sit back and watch some good football. I'll put it that
Yeah,
way.
that's it. That's all we're doing.
It starts this Friday night. Course coaching and football. And real quick, I want to kind of see or hear your thoughts on this one. When it comes to air raid, and of course we know the Hal Mums and the Mike Leaches and so on and so forth. Looking back on the late great Mike Leach and seeing how he propelled what he did and how effective he was, how much of that played a role into your coaching style and in the way that you coach?
Uh, I mean, everybody remembers the Michael Crabtree catch,
Yep.
and like whenever I was young, whenever that happened, didn't understand X and O's like that at all. Just knew, wow, these dudes throw the ball. They're explosive. They nickel and dime too, and they get stuff going. Um, I just was always a fan too because of the crazy press conferences and stuff. It's so awesome, a guy
They
like
were
that.
classic.
The guy like that is such a good football, and like he's the complete opposite of what a prototypical football guy is supposed to be. Um, and so just really watching him, and then whenever I got into coaching, we started throwing the ball a lot my junior and senior year
Mhm.
playing high school ball. A dude by the name of Jim Sosby was our offensive coordinator. He became the head coach after I graduated. We threw the ball a lot too. So I was always interested in throwing the ball and being aggressive in a sense that way. Um, but a lot of people get it misinterpreted for throwing the ball as explosive plays, and we're going 4 verticals, and we're throwing the ball down the field,
Mhm.
and that goes back to the what Mike Leach really wanted to do with the air raid is basically make it like the wishbone, just throwing the ball. So we want all 5 guys to touch it. We want to just get them in space and teach them to find the grass and get the ball in their hands. So I really took that and dove in on that hard with like the Mike Leach and Hal Mummy versions of it, and then really starting to whenever Coach Phil Longo, came to North Carolina with Sam Howell and Drake May, and just really starting to dive in on that stuff because it was air raid in the sense of certain things, but it was just a little bit different. It was just a little bit more advanced in a sense. Basically, the same way Leach started getting later on. He started doing things a little unorthodox. It's
Mhm.
not true air raid, and everybody's like, "Oh, that's different than air raid." Well, it's still part of the same philosophy. It just may be a little tweak because I believe too. At the end of the day, any good offensive or defensive coaches, you got to keep up with the times. You've got to be able to adapt things and change things and make the same thing look different. So just learning from watching Leach and all that, and then meeting people that have coached with him and for him, getting to talk ball with those guys, and just learning that whole system front and back. And like Drew Hollingshed at Western Kentucky now, he was with Leach at Mississippi State, was
Mhm.
with him at Washington State. And I learned a lot from him, and then learned a lot from Longo as well. It's been nights where we've had long phone calls about why do you do it this way, and what's the benefit of it? How can I do it at high school? Can I do it at high school? So just really learning from those guys, and then it really just being trial and error. You can get in practice and try some things, and you're like, nah, that ain't. we ain't there yet. We ain't there yet, or I don't know how to teach it yet. One of the two. So just being a student of the game, I love that part of it, and those guys have really helped me out a lot. And Drew Piscopo too. He always went to wherever Mike Leach was, and like learned from him. And he's a high school football coach in North Carolina, and just learning from all them guys and bouncing ideas off heads, figuring out what works and what don't, and just kind of sticking with it. Then making it mine. This is kind of what I've done.
Was there? I know it's probably a tough one to answer because I'm sure there's so many of them. Is there one coach that has been a mentor through your young career as of now, or even growing up that you've still kept in contact with that's helped you along the way? I know it's a tough one.
Oh yeah, there's two or three right off of the back of my head. Coach Lauder was my high school coach my freshman through junior year. He stepped down our senior year to become the AD because then where I went to school at, they don't do the AD and football coach thing. You basically got to be assistant principal in AD, small school.
Yep.
So him, and then my offensive line coach in high school, I still talk to him to this day, Coach Mack. I mean, he's always been there for me. Sometimes we'll call and just make up jokes and talk junk on the phone, like man, UNC's gonna call us. They're gonna give us them keys. Like, oh man, they call Belichick. Well, maybe Belichick could call us, and we can go over there and work for him. Just crazy stuff like that. That's just two that I talk to on more of a regular basis.
Nice.
That really had an impact on me and got me into coaching. And then the college guys, like Drew Hollingshed, I could text him anytime and he'll get back to me whenever he's not busy. Same thing with Phil Longo. If I got questions and stuff, they're just down to earth people, and you don't see that in the industry much. But guys that are like that, I like to keep them close. And even if it's just, what's up, coach? Just making sure you're good. I just try to always stay in contact with them because I never know whenever I may need them. So,
speaking of Coach Belichick, and I wasn't really expecting that move. I mean, I knew Mac Brown's days at North Carolina was starting to dwindle, but what was your first intake on Bill Belichick being the new head coach at North Carolina, and how is that NIL going to help him out in the long run or hurt him? Affect that transition with Belichick, and could he kind of rebuild this Tar Heel program?
I definitely think that he can. I think he's going to be able to get the best staff that he could possibly get. I mean, obviously, whenever you're a coach and you're thinking about putting on a resume that you work for Bill Belichick or you got that dude as a reference, that's going to be attractive to a lot of people. Plus, the NIL money, that's big because there's SEC schools that aren't even spending that and are very competitive. And so, and whenever they show it up there with the teams that are spending this, and this, and then you put a team like UNC right there, I think that's awesome because I love UNC. I mean, I really do. I'm a North Carolina guy, but they just irk my nerves a little bit sometimes in basketball and football because I'm like, how do we lose? Okay, whatever. But I think everything will be good. The only thing that's going to be a problem is they've never been on that big stage, and just how they're going to be able to handle it. Because not every kid is a great kid, and sometimes that's trial and error. If you get a guy from somewhere and he doesn't work out. How does that work? And I think they'll get different level of kids than they've ever got. So just being able to manage that, um, both at
Mhm.
the school aspect, the football aspect, and even like the town aspect, just kind of how all that stuff will intermingle and work together. Be interesting to see, but they definitely got the right man for it. Because even his son is a phenomenal coach.
Yes.
Because I mean, he was at Washington, and they may not be in the playoff, but he's a dang good coach, and he was doing it at a high level with the Patriots too, on both the offensive side
Mhm.
and defensive side. So um, I think he's just going to be able to get a really good staff. He's going to be able to get really good players, and he's going to get um, players that are going to be very serious about getting to the next level. And as opposed to maybe just chasing the money or um, just kind of being good and then not. So I think you'll get very good valued kids. That'll help them.
No, I'm with you on that one. I think I think if anything, I think, in a lot of these social media posts you just can't put much into and so on and so forth anymore. But someone said, "Well, I thought North Carolina wanted to go younger and so on and so forth." But I think, I think really, if you look at it from also the view of the scheme of things, is maybe Belichick's the guy that can kind of maybe help develop these guys, and then for a few years, because we all get it. He's no kid himself. We all get that,
Yeah,
um, but maybe that's a kind of fill in to kind of get them, on the track, and then Bill bring in somebody, or maybe he has somebody in mind that could take over in Chapel Hill and and go from there. But interesting hire. I didn't see that coming. I don't think really many people did, but at the end, I think it's going to help. In my opinion, going to help at least, if anything, the North Carolina program, and it's good for the game. It's something different, and who knows? Maybe North Carolina here in about 2-3 years from now, when is going to hire Tom Brady as a quarterback coach. You never know. I
yeah,
mean, you
yeah.
just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, and that's just like Mike Vick becoming a head coach. Like, who who would have guessed that? You know,
Hmm. No,
I mean,
exactly.
it's crazy. And with UNC doing that though, that it kind of showed that they do want to be serious and be good at football. And they definitely got the right guy to be able to manage all that and at least get it on the right track. Because I think they did the right thing too with Mac Brown. They kind of let him do his thing, and he started getting it on the right track. Just sizzled out a little bit, and I think all the timing and stuff was right. I hate to say that, but I think it kind of was because it just kind of was floating around, not
Right.
really going up, not really going down, just kind of medium. And um, that's the thing. Like even with us humans, though, whenever we start getting complacent, then we become our own worst enemy. So
Hmm.
I think they just timed it up right, and they definitely got the right guy to be able to manage everything. So
Absolutely. And there's a comment that let me pull up here, that your wife may I definitely 100% agree on, which I think is huge. And the question I was going to aim for this one came at the right time is when obviously coaching takes up a lot of time away from family and friends and so on and so forth. What are ways to help you balance your family life to your coaching life? And it goes exactly which I applaud um, your wife saying, obviously being your biggest cheerleader.
yeah.
What are ways to balance your coaching from your personal, and when things do get rough, what do you know? Obviously, don't go into hopeful detail, but how does things look like when things get rough on your end?
Uh, so being that's why I'm big on keeping my family around,
Hmm.
whether it's my kids at practices or um, my kids on the sidelines during games, being the ball boy or eating team dinner with us or whatever. I try to do a lot to keep my kids involved, and even with my wife, she normally heads up uh, the little wives group chat and
Hmm.
all that stuff. I try to keep them involved, but at the same time, I also try to disconnect myself the best way I can. So like, with break coming up, I'm not really gonna be all in the ball and all in that. I'll be spending time with my family, my kids, and
Very nice.
I don't really want to say it's like you're losing time on them because I mean it's the career that I chose, and I think that if you just do a really good job of keeping them there and keeping them connected with it, like on Saturdays we'll all pile up in the living room and watch football, and the boys may say, "Oh, I got Georgia," and then me and my wife will be like, "Well, we got Alabama," so like we're not
Nice.
even Georgia and Alabama fans, but if it
Right.
comes to whatever team we're watching, if they pull for one, we're gonna pull for the other, and it's gonna be a competition.
Of
Um,
course.
and with the highs, the good thing about having your family involved too is that they always kind of keep you right there, level headed too. Like even winning back to back state championships. I mean, my wife always did a good job of making sure I was still level headed and not get too cocky and
Mhm.
arrogant and all that. And then whenever I would hit my lows, just actually listening to me whenever I talk and just spitting out ideas about, well, have you thought about trying to do this or you thought about trying to do that? Just having somebody like that's really helped me coaching wise too. And then it also helps that, both of my boys play football.
Nice.
Um, they love it. So that that makes it a whole lot easier because then we're all kind of involved in that sense, and then getting to be able to teach my wife the game a little bit is fun
Mhm.
too. Um, the girls don't really care, but like my 3-year old, she runs around the house with a football as opposed to Barbies. So maybe she'll be a linebacker one day if she grows up to be big and tall like me. She can be a linebacker or something. So um, it's definitely got its highs and lows, but it's so rewarding in every sense because it just does something to me getting to see my kids interact with the kids that I
Mhm.
spend a whole lot more time with them with. But it's all you're all family at the end of the day, and so that's something I kind of missed out on growing up is being tight knit with family and being real big on family. So I'm learning all that, and it just it's definitely fun.
Well,
But
as they always say, it keeps
I
you
will say
young.
with the lows, too. After a bad loss, my family also knows just leave me alone for a little bit. Let me get my mind right um and just just leave me be. It's not nothing personal, but it's personal to me that
Of
we
course.
took the L. So let me get my thoughts and stuff together, and then I'll come back to being around and being the family man. Just give me a second.
No, I like that. I think that's the fact that and you don't really see it much, and really in any profession. Now, granted, I don't speak with every single coach known to man and how they do and don't do, um, but to see and to hear, or at least to hear, the fact that hey, the kids are I'm bringing them to work or whatever the case might be, um, is very crucial because obviously you're still even though you have a job to do and that was just the field that you chose, it's the fact that you're still putting the number one priority still up at the very top and keeping them around, and I applaud you for that. And it speaks volumes because a lot of people will get a get a career or just a simple job, and it's literally they family, wife, husband, whatever the situation is on the back burner, and then literally you kill yourself over something that's going to replace you in a matter of days if something was to happen to you.
Yeah, and there may be times where I'm only giving 20 at home, but then my wife is there to give the other 80. So that way our family and our kids don't lack for anything, no matter what we're going through or the situations. It's definitely awesome.
No, that's awesome. That's an awesome support system, or even the way that how you balance life and I just like that. I applaud that. You don't see that much anymore, especially how society or the world or social media tells us from one thing to another. So I applaud you
Yeah,
for that.
yeah, definitely appreciate it.
Um, I was going to say something. I forgot. Um. Oh, Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley, of course, an offensive genius. Maybe head coach. Maybe we'll figure out if he's there or not still in that. Um, Obviously at Oklahoma, he's seen much success. Even prior to East Carolina, I believe was before Oklahoma. He saw some offensive success. Of course, Oklahoma being the top tier in offensive stats. USC, of course, his first year when Caleb Williams won and I appreciate that, Miss Rice, and um, what as an offensive mind with Lincoln Riley, I'm not putting him on blast because you see it from time to time. What has not worked with Lincoln Riley, and the reason why I'm going with this is bringing up the hot coaches that we could see in 25, and him being, in my opinion, could be potentially being one. Not saying Brent, and we'll go with Brent Venables here in a second, but with Lincoln Riley, what has went wrong in USC when it comes to really just overall, but especially offensive wise? You don't really see we haven't seen that offensive bust like we did at Oklahoma or even East Carolina for that matter.
I love Lincoln Riley.
I do too. Yeah, from an offensive mind, I absolutely admire what he does.
I think the big thing, and it was kind of the same thing at Oklahoma. And I'm not trying to say it in a bad way, but I just think that it's always been, defense is kind of not really showing up, not really playing the way that they should.
Right.
In a sense. But then whenever you watch the games and stuff, whenever you got an offensive head coach, it could go one or two ways. You could be really, really good, really, really explosive, and you're going to outscore everybody, outplay everybody. Or the other way is you could kind of be a little bit too aggressive, and you can get put into some binds sometimes, which therefore it's gonna make people say, "Oh, the defense didn't play good," or "Oh, he missed that field goal." Well, if some people don't look at it in a sense, maybe if you would have took two field goals early in the game, it wouldn't even come down to that. Or if you would have, if this would have happened and you wouldn't be so aggressive on that. I think Lincoln Riley's going to keep getting better at game managing and building a defense that will complement his offense. And then at that point, he'll be really, really good. And then he'll even build the trenches up more off of that. I think if he does those things, then he's an offensive genius.
Oh, absolutely.
I love watching their old all 22 stuff at Oklahoma, and whenever he was at USC, I was like, okay, that's Caleb Williams. Like he's unbelievable in himself, just as far as talent wise and stuff like that. But the stuff that he was doing at Oklahoma was just so next level and awesome that I became a fan of him. So yeah, I just think it's whenever you're a head coach at that level, it's hard to be as involved as you want to be on either side of the ball because in today's game, you've got to basically be a general manager or a CEO, and you've got to manage everything besides just offense or just defense or whatever. So I think he'll learn that and he'll keep getting better with that. And if that happens, then it's scary, especially if his defense matches offense. It's wherever he's at, that'll be deadly.
I always said, and I kind of felt the same towards Mike Leach, respectfully, nothing derogatory towards Lincoln or Mike.
Yeah.
That had they had a defense that could stop people, not give up 40, 50 points in the game, win or lose, doesn't matter. Yeah. I think they would. Well, Leach, I think, would have won so. I'm putting myself out there, but I would say anyway, at least multiple national championships. Lincoln at least should have had one. But he squibbed and needed to do a squib kick before halftime, and that was ruling the rest of that. But I still think we beat Bama that year. But anyway,
yeah.
But no, you see, it's interesting, especially from that, because it seems like you see more coaches that are head coaches. Either they specialize in defense or offense, doesn't matter. And whatever they specialize in, the other end always seems to be just average or we're barely getting by. Lincoln for sure with Alex Grinch being mainly his D coordinator for a long time.
Yeah.
But coaches on the hot seat, who are some of your coaches in 25 that we could see? If they're not hot on hot seat this year, the seats getting warmed in 25, or they could be out the door. Depends on how the season goes. Who are some of yours as we head down the home stretch?
Well, we go back to and I know this is crazy to say because the dude wins and stuff, but like Ryan Day,
Yep.
if Ohio State keeps losing to Michigan, then they're not and not winning national championships, they're not going to put up with that very long from that standpoint because I think he's a really great offensive mind too, and to be able to have Chip Kelly as your OC, that speaks of what kind of guy you are in a sense too, because we'll be able to have them two guys over there. But yeah, him definitely, and I I kind of hate to say it in a sense, but I really think if Dabo doesn't start adapting
Ooh.
to the new, it may not be in a year, it may not be in 2 years, but it's something different whenever teams got grown men and you're playing with some high schoolers. It's it's just different. I went to the South Carolina and Clemson game,
Mm-hmm.
and whenever I seen South Carolina's linemen out there versus Clemson's linemen, I was like, I mean, it's still got to think about the ball game, but you could clearly see the difference, and I think that could catch up to him. People probably hate on me for saying that, but just, just the way he is. But luckily, he's at a spot that is kind of in his beliefs too, so that helps. I think if Venables don't get it going, that's another one.
What about Kalen DeBoer?
That could be one too, but then I get to thinking about like who else would lead Bama, um, and then I think like Billy Napier,
Mm-hmm.
he's a great coach. He really is X and O's guy. He's amazing. Um, I think the situation there is just really weird. And then due to FSU, that's another one.
Mike Norvell.
Yeah, and he just brought Gus Malzahn in as his OC, and I mean, if you don't do nothing right there, then that could definitely cause an issue with the fans and stuff. I can't really think of nobody else. And maybe speaking of Ryan Day and up there, maybe James Franklin, if he keeps losing
Mm-hmm.
them big games, that could be another one.
What
Because
about
he's
Link?
been there for a while.
Yes, he has been. A lot of people, and he's a name that's not really float out there because Penn State just
They
they're
normally
used
keep their coaches for 100 years.
exactly. The way he's going, he's headed up to Joe Pa's. Just hope we don't have the same scandal like he ended up with. What about Lincoln Riley? Any chance he could be on the hot seat?
uh, I don't know because I really don't know. It would depend on who becomes available at that point. I think
Gotcha.
if there was a really good coach that could recruit that area and has a really good resume and stuff like that, then potentially yes. But I mean, it's really nobody, not very many that's better than him X and O's wise in the game of football. So it would have to be somebody that would be really good recruiter, established recruiter, something like that would have to kind of push him out. I think, unless he just drops the ball and goes two and whatever and three and whatever. Then I think it'd be gone there for sure.
Now I'll give you a name. It's not going to be next year. Maybe I don't know if you go 26, maybe 27 if he's still around. What about Steve Sarkisian? And the reason why I say that is Yeah, you can beat Oklahoma right now. Their programs trying to find their identity again. But and I'll say that from OU fan standpoint, they're trying to find their identity again. But you obviously couldn't win the big games in the Big 12 for the most part under under Steve Sarkisian. Obviously, losing to Georgia in the SEC. Let's just say they do a one and done against Clemson. If he can't win the big games, let's say they do the repeat, losing the SEC next year, first round exit again next year. Not maybe 26, but could you see if he's still at Texas, obviously, maybe by 27, if he can't start winning the big games, do you think Steve Sarkisian could, even if he does win 11, 12 games a year, could be out the door?
That's possible too, just because of the backing and support and the way football is in Texas in general.
Right.
They're not going to let the highest level slack in that sense. So so yeah, there'll definitely be like if they lose to Clemson, there's going to be a lot of people mad, especially especially people that matter and the ones that employ them.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, I never really thought about that one though. I never really did.
No, I mean, obviously he's a name. I mean, he's had success at Texas. I mean, I'm not knocking what he's done so far and what he will do, but always, I'm always thinking, I wonder if, like, say, for example, I don't expect him to, but if he has a first round exit against Clemson or heck, even losing to Arizona State, which I don't even see that happening either. No offense to Arizona State.
Well, Arizona State won the Big 12,
Exactly.
and Texas came from the Big 12.
Yep.
So who knows? That's what I'm saying. It's so weird this year. It's so weird.
If you had, I'm gonna give you, we'll play a game and say that I'm gonna give you 3 coaches: Lincoln Riley, who let's go. I'm trying to spread the love around here. I'll even give you Bill Belichick. And then let's go somebody down south. I'll give you 4. There's nobody up north I would really put you with. Let's go Ryan Day for the heck of it. And then Kirby Smart down in Georgia. There we go. That's somewhat special love. Brent Venables, I guess there's 5. I guess I'm missing the central part of the states. Out of those 5, they each one call you up and said, "Hey, Coach Rice, we're interested in having you our offensive coordinator. Here's the package." They do whatever they want to do. It don't matter. However you draw that up, who are you calling back and say, "I would love to be your OC"?
Whew.
Lincoln, Bill Belichick, Ryan Day, Kirby Smart, and Brent Venables.
Well, if you was with Lincoln, you would just have the title.
Exactly.
Because there's no way I can call plays better than Lincoln. No way on earth. It would have Ryan Day. I wouldn't either because we wouldn't be able to beat Michigan. Venables definitely not because they just lost their quarterback to Auburn, and I'd be on suicide watch if that happened. If I was at Oklahoma and my quarterback just went to Auburn.
Well, let's put it this way: the entire offense and then some has already transferred out.
Well, I'm
right now, you got nothing to work with.
I'm going with Belichick or Kirby Smart simply because Kirby Smart's a defensive guy, but he's also had some of the I think Todd Monken's a really phenomenal college offensive coordinator, and he's even good at the NFL. But he's worked with some dudes too, and so he's got a lot of pull and a lot of connections that way. And then obviously Belichick. He's got every connection known to man. Even people that hate him still will probably pick up the phone call and says Bill Belichick. And he may only say 5 words to you and press the click button before you can respond to him. But he probably wouldn't even give me a chance to respond. He'd probably say, "Just check your email, click," or whatever, So it would definitely be, and that's maybe what I need as a young coach because there's, maybe he would settle me down a little bit, and I'd be, calm, cool, and collective guy then. It'd be Belichick or Kirby, one of them.
Would your press conferences be more entertaining than Bill Belichick's or about the same?
Oh, 100%. Because I would get so bad. he would. I would be like, basically, I'd be like his wild grandson in a press conference, and he'd be just over there like, oh my God, shut up. Can this kid please just shut up? Like, he'd probably be telling me to shut up, but I wouldn't be able to hear him just from talking so loud, and he's over there moaning, so. Yeah, it'd be like babysitting for him for a while until he just learned how to deal with me and just let me be
uh, I know this is a random question, but you see it oftentimes and not. I know Lincoln always got mentioned, at least when he was at Oklahoma, being, maybe Dallas the Cowboys head coach, poor guy. Or to that degree, is the game different from the? I know I've never played in the in the NFL level by any means. Is the game different from compared to the college level? That college coach we just haven't really seen that much success that we thought we could. Steve Spurrier, Nick Saban, even Urban Meyer in his short stint didn't really do well. I know I'm missing one that had a decent career. I'm trying to figure who that was. But for the most part, is it just a different? Why haven't we seen more college coaches make that jump to the pro level than we really have not seen?
I mean, like when Nick Saban, for example, with him, he could never get a quarterback,
right?
And so that killed him. But also, he tried to take that approach to a bunch of grown men. I mean, it's grown men out there. So I think a lot of them is different as far as in the teaching and stuff of it, and the building the relationships and stuff like that. It's completely different whenever you're in a room full of grown men that they basically are playing for a paycheck, and you don't have to demand a crazy amount for them in order
Yep.
to get that out of them. Because in college, you're still having to demand things and get them to play at a high level and stuff like that. Well, NFL, it's basically if you don't play at a high level, then it's on to the next one. So I think a lot of them maybe wouldn't know how to really handle that in a sense. That's kind of like Cliff Kingsbury, like from phenomenal offensive mind. Did all right at Arizona there for a minute, and then just went down really bad, and then decided to stay, as an OC. Which I mean, that's just what he is. I think he's a great offensive mind, and that is his calling is to be an offensive coordinator and just the offensive guy. And same thing with like Joe Brady, that left LSU and he's with the Bills. He left college and went back to the NFL after coming from the NFL. So maybe he just liked that more as far as the coaching aspect of, I'm not having to basically kill myself out here to get these guys to perform. Just like that. And I'm sure the fun stuff of getting a scout and drafting process and all that. I think it'd be fun, but then I think that some people just aren't good at that, and they're good at they know what they know, and that's college football and recruiting and the college game, because the college game is different than the NFL game.
Yes, it is.
So I think some of them just get in the college game and do what they can, and they normally stay on a recycle system. They'll bounce from here to there to there. They're just comfortable with
it. No, I was kind of curious from a standpoint from some because you do see some. Cliff Kingsbury had a decent run, and then you got some like a Steve Spurrier that just completely fell off, or Nick Saban with X, Y, and Z, or even I'm missing one. He was at Atlanta.
Matt Rule's one too.
Yes, thank you.
Because Matt Rule, the guy that I coached for at Asheville School in North Carolina, he coached with Matt Rule at Temple.
Nice.
And he said Matt Rule is one of the smartest guys that he's ever met, just as a person. Said that Matt Rule would be a story, Matt Rule would be sitting over there with two different phones, texting two different recruits at the same time.
Wow.
just like blah, 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 blah. And he did his thing at Temple, did his thing at Baylor.
He's starting to be Nebraska's starting to be back up to standards again.
Just some people, and that's another thing too that I've seen. That's like with Scott Frost coming back to UCF. Sometimes whenever people are happy, they don't know how to just be still. And I think that's whenever a lot of college coaches are like, "Okay, I'm going to the NFL." Well, it's a completely different beast and completely different animal as far as being a head coach. So yeah, I think a lot of them just need to be happy where they are and be the best at that.
I like that. I think a lot of people get they think the grass is greener on the other side, and you can walk into a woodshed or into a field full of landmines, as Scott Frost did at Nebraska, and just falling off the face of the earth, and then go back to where he started from.
Yeah, and I mean, you even see it in high school where somebody will leave and then they're like, "No, this ain't what you said," So, and that's kind of crazy too, thinking about it now, how that happens at every level of football. From this game all the way up to the pros, that sometimes you may feel like you're ready, but you just ain't ready, or sometimes you may think you know, but you just don't know. Yeah, that's crazy to think about it like that.
No, it is, and even in the college ranks, in the pro ranks, who would be some of the coaches you would love to either talk to or even work under if you had that opportunity?
Dan Campbell.
Oh yes,
yeah,
that dude. I would run through a brick with that dude.
That's my kind of guy. That is my kind of guy. And his offensive coordinator is actually from where I'm from in North Carolina.
Very nice.
Which is really surprising, but apparently nobody knows him. So I'm like, well, like somebody's got to have his number, email, something. Like somebody's got to be his brother, sister, cousin. There's got to be something going on here. But yeah, definitely Dan Campbell. Like he just, I don't know, just the type of guy that he is, and I'm sure he's an amazing hard worker and teacher too. Let's see who else. Mike McDaniel, that'd be another one.
I bet that would be, because he's an interesting guy anyway.
Oh, so
interesting guy
and unorthodox. I've heard stuff of his teaching is completely different than anybody else, just because of the stuff he knows and how he teaches it and stuff. So that would definitely be fun to learn from him.
What about Sean Payton?
Definitely Sean Payton, because Sean Payton is a great offensive mind too, and just a football mind in general. But that's a lot of where Joe Brady's success has come from being under him as an analyst and assistant and stuff like that. Yeah, that would be a good one too, for sure. And definitely Cliff Kingsbury.
Oh, by far.
Definitely him. Yeah, that'd be, and I do like McVay too.
Yep, Sean McVay.
Yeah, him. So yeah, those would be the guys for sure. Starting with Dan Campbell though, we're going.
I was gonna say you got to go with Dan Campbell. You just can't.
Yeah, we're gonna go talk some old school power eye, all sorts of stuff, power T, everything.
I would say who would be the guys that you're not hanging out with, but I want to respect them, so we can go that route.
Oh.
As long as I ain't gonna go that. No, I was gonna say as long as Mike McCarthy's on that list, hey, we good. No, I'm kidding. I know I don't want to disrespect any of them, but as we wind down the holiday season, literally a week away from today is Christmas. Hard to believe we're already at the end of the year, but what are some of the traditions growing up that you had around this time of the year, and is there are there any that you continue with your family?
We used to go to Florida every year at Christmas.
Very
Um,
nice.
yeah, that used to be fun. That's something that I would actually like to start doing again whenever I get my stuff together.
Nice.
Looking back, I'm like, golly, how did we used to do that?
Hmm.
Like, no,
Yep.
I just can't see myself. Nah, I'll start adding everything up in my head, and then I'm
Yep.
like, no, no, one plus two don't equal three on that one. I don't like
Mm-mm.
that. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much what we used to do. That'd definitely be fun to do it now. Just like I said, the world's completely different now. so
Yes, it
uh,
is.
so maybe if I get one of them big jobs one day or something, I'd be able to do something like that. But in the meantime, we're just gonna have get all the kids together and close family members and just enjoy each other and have a good old time and watch some football over the break and with all them
Absolutely.
and be competitive and start a war in the house about the college football tournament. Just I guess we can make that a tradition now. We can start doing our own brackets, and whoever
Yep.
loses has to do this, this, and this, or whatever. The winner gets this, and that'd be just something kind of fun to do.
Hey, you might have gave the whole country some ideas now.
Yeah, yeah. Put all the brackets up on the fridge. Put it all in
Hmm.
pins so that way nobody can change it.
Try to change
Yeah,
wide out. You see
yeah,
some of these brackets all wide out.
yeah. And
um,
then if they get a certain amount of bowl games right to start, then they can open a gift early, and if not, then they got to wait until it's time to open them. Just I mean, you can do all sorts of things with
well, on that note, I'll get some ideas now. I gotta go share.
it.
Uh,
Yeah.
any good, any big foods, treats, desserts that you always have at Christmas or whatever?
Oh, at any holiday, it's basically a unwritten rule that my wife has to make collard greens.
Nice.
So I'm definitely looking forward to that. And I don't know, like I said, it's an unwritten rule, so I'm just assuming that's going to be there. And if it's not, then I might not even participate in Christmas this year if that doesn't happen. So but definitely that. I really don't care about nothing else. If I'm sure she'll probably make some mac and cheese and
Right.
have some maybe a ham or something, or maybe we can do some steaks. Or I don't know. As long as I got collard greens, I'm
That's what's up.
good. It don't matter.
That's what's up.
And she makes a big enough pot to where I eat it throughout the week, and sometimes I eat 3 or 4 bowls. And, like it goes down whenever the greens are made.
Hey, can't go wrong with that
No,
at all. As
not
long as
hers.
they're cooked right. As long as
Yeah,
they're cooked right.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, here we go. There you go. Well, coach, I enjoyed this. I know you got some things to do, I'm sure, but spend time with the fam. But coach, I appreciate this. This was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it, man. It really was fun, and we're gonna have to definitely do it more often and have some more fun doing it.
Hey, absolutely. And I know a lot of coaches, and I'm sure they'll definitely want to reach out. But where can all the listeners find you at, and touch base with you on the social?
The easiest way to get a hold of me is through Twitter. Um, I'm I pull up the tab at work and just keep it open.
Yep.
Just in case if some breaking news happens or something,
Yep.
I can go on there and see what's going on. So yeah, I'm on Twitter, and that's normally what I talk to all other coaches on and stuff like that, and then exchange phone numbers from there.
Yep.
Just yeah, look me up on Twitter and it's at Coach Adam Rice, and we can definitely talk ball and just have a good time.
Hey, and that's what it's about because there's so much negativity out there, and you got to have somewhere to have some fun. So, Coach, I appreciate you, dude, and we'll definitely do it again.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Hey, absolutely. You've been listening to the. I was about to say you've been listening to the Merry Christmas podcast. Lord have mercy. You've been listening to the Area Attack podcast. I should have ended on that note. The Area Attack podcast. Listen to us on all major podcast platforms and subscribe on Twitter. From my family to yours, everyone, Merry Christmas, and we'll see you all, I'm sure, next year.